meeting is being recorded.
And
All right.
we're good. All right.
Dobry wieczór.
Awesome.
Hi. Guys.
My Polish is 1% better than 2 years ago. Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, if this continues in 200 years, it'll be like 2 trillion times better.
Compounding, right?
Yeah, compound interest joke. Yeah. So then I'll be able to, have a normal conversation.
All right. So, Will, maybe you'll introduce what we're doing here.
Yeah, so we're all from the Ergon community, which is a code fork of the Bitcoin Cash protocol, and it differentiates itself from Bitcoin Cash and all the other cryptocurrencies for that matter, because it doesn't run on a fixed supply schedule. It actually has a free market-based supply schedule that reacts proportionally to demand. So the more demand there is for coins, the supply will essentially react to meet that demand, creating supply elasticity. And the production cost of Ergon is fixed. So assuming that prices of things trend towards their production cost, we essentially create a stable unit of account, medium of exchange, and store of value, basically digital cash. And that was Bitcoin's original vision. People talk a lot about what the original vision really is. And it usually ends up in a super reductive debate about block size and speed and all that. But we took Satoshi's, we took what Satoshi said verbatim and designed a protocol that becomes digital cash instead of a speculative asset. And we think we have certain advantages to stablecoin solutions in the space because it doesn't depend on a third-party oracle. There's no peg, so it can't break, essentially. And it's based on proof of work, so it stays true to
there's no trusted parties at all, not even, as you said, no oracles. You don't have to do any voting, no proof of stake. You don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, and
maybe in the future, Ergon will have something like Avalanche. Carter was open to do mempool synchronization or so with that, but that isn't really fundamental to the protocol. It's really just a very simple, very, very simple system.
Yes.
And I like very, very simple systems.
Yeah, me too. Don't they say complexity is the enemy of security or something like that? Or am I getting that wrong?
Yeah,
maybe.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's why I like it too. It's very simple.
Complexity, best friend of people who have no idea how to invest.
Yeah. So I guess this call is more or less a discussion of Ergon, where we think it is in its timeline, its lifespan, since it's still very early, where we think we can go forward with it, how we got into it, what were our original thoughts, what we think now, any of that stuff. It's not really structured because we were supposed to do the call like 2 hours from now. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So Pan Cieszkowski, how did you get into Ergon?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a
trick question.
Crazy tricky question. Yeah. So it mutated in my brain from other coins, and I would say that Ergon came into
sorry,
me
Carlo,
than
you're a little
rather than
close to
I.
the microphone.
Excuse me.
You're a little close to the microphone. It's a little
Okay.
too loud.
Okay.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe a little
Like
bit distance.
right now is better.
You said you were
A
too
little
close.
bit better. I think you're too close. Yeah, yeah.
Too
It's a
close
little
now.
too
Okay.
cozy, a
Okay.
little too
I'll try.
comfortable.
I'll try to optimize it a bit. Yeah, I'd say that I didn't come into Ergon, but Ergon came into me in a way. It mutated in my brain. I was like the patient zero of this brain infection. And yeah, I just took the code of Bitcoin Cash, modified the client, and started the network, set up some infrastructure, and I waited. And
Yeah,
I
you
waited
just went
for.
for it. Giga chat move. I don't know if this works. Let me do it.
Could you repeat?
I said the Giga chat move. You're like, I don't know if this works. Let me just do it.
No, I mean I have written the white paper. I did some math that convinced me enough to think that it is a legitimate idea and it can just work. And I mean I was convinced enough to like spend lots of time on it.
Well,
And
and you
yeah,
solved
and
all the things, like the fee thing. Yeah, you. It's very little code modifications actually. Like, because sorry to just hijack this. Because I like also ported the stuff to ABC, and it turned out to be so little code. The most of it is like kind of cosmetic. If I, you know, and yeah, it's a very small change in my opinion to the existing Bitcoin Cash system. Yeah. Anyway, continue. You want to say something more?
all right. So yeah. As as you said, I figured out some little things, some like I figured out that some things I thought that would be a problem isn't a problem. So and yeah, I started the stuff and waited. Mm,
Do you have
mm,
an example of something that you thought might be a problem but isn't a problem in Ergon?
yeah, I thought that hash rate oscillations that are happening on many other networks because they are minority networks will be a problem because Ergon itself has the tendency to oscillate and
Also, would have like
and
double oscillate.
yeah, and I thought that if there are already some oscillations that will interfere with one with another, and it will cause the entire system to go in some resonance and maybe collapse. But it turned out that the reason small coins are oscillating is precisely the fact that they are not proportional. That some amount of profit can be extracted by manipulating the difficulty adjustment algorithm. And in Ergon, this is just not the case because it is always, I mean, the reward is always proportional to the difficulty. So the problem is not even solved; it is dissolved. It is absolutely not present there. The problem that is causing like those turbo mining in other coins. It's a major problem for small coins. Probably people who are into altcoins know about it. Large mining comes in, drives up the difficulty, and then leaves
Yeah, that never
the
happens on
chain.
Ergon.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, we have something similar, but it is not for the same reason.
Yeah.
We have it because miners are often overcorrecting for the demand, because well, they're
Yeah,
not
also
that
just how
aware
human
of
attention
what is.
works, right? They're just like, oh, let me try this out. They play around with it. Like I did that, right? I just started mining Aragon. And then I was like, okay, well, my credits ran out, so I'll just stop mining. And then you're kind of stuck with the high difficulty network.
So to people who don't know, since the rewards are proportional, if there's no demand for tokens, I mean, sorry, coins, if there's no demand for Ergons, they won't be created. So for the first 2.5 years of the protocol's life, there were only four coins in existence because there was no demand on the market for Ergon. So there wasn't any what we call it. We decided to call it deep capital, but there wasn't any initial high distribution of coins to miners for very little amounts of work. And now, after like a small bit of marketing this year, I'd say within a month or so, we went from the initial 4 coins that existed to now 60, which is phenomenal growth. But do either of you think that the miners basically overmined because they thought there would still be more demand, because we essentially pulled back on the marketing temporarily, just because we didn't have any money to do more of it. Uh, yeah, so do you think that they saw the boost in demand and kind of overcompensated by mining too much?
Mm, yeah, and probably some people are who reacted to the marketing didn't even know what they're buying and are now selling coins below their cost of production, which is insane. And well, this is an opportunity for those who know how this thing work. So yeah, that's, I mean, that's
Why is
pretty
it
awesome for those who know, but
Yeah,
why
do your
is
own
that an
research.
opportunity for people who aren't familiar with this with our our domain of Ergon? Like, what why would it be beneficial to buy, hypothetically, to buy now as a as opposed to when it was at this price it's supposed to be at, like it's equilibrium?
Well, buy low, sell high. It's always, like if you can get it below production. Like Aragon has this inherent stability mechanism that like coins have a certain cost that you kind of can't go under just by the way of the protocol, and also by like how much mining just happens to cost in the real world. And if you can get coins below that price, you guaranteed get them at the bargain, pretty much. I mean, you might have to wait a while until the market stabilizes, but that's like kind of the gig of Ergon. Like sometimes the
Right.
price goes down, sometimes it goes up,
So when
but it hovers
new
around one.
demand, sorry, but when there's new demand on the market, and suddenly people want Aragon, someone who bought it, let's say like 50% below production cost, they now have like they can actually profit off of moderate increases in price, and they can sell the coin for prices that miners aren't even capable of mining at, because they can never mine below that fixed production cost, essentially. So miners can't supply coins at that price, but you have coins, and your
Mm.
cost average was way below the production cost. So
Yeah, of
essentially,
course, the demand has to be there for that, right?
yeah,
So you can't just buy all the market for a very low price, and then people don't have the same demand. But I hope over time this will increase. I hope over time Ergon will find a good use case, and then demand will be there.
Right. So,
Yeah, sorry.
no, go ahead.
The use case is peer-to-peer electronic cash, right? It's the original use case. We just need people to figure out that doing business with Ergon is pretty good. And yeah, I recently earned some Ergons on the store that I launched, and I sold the white paper, signed white paper. Yeah, and yeah, and some stickers.
Those will be worth millions.
Could you repeat?
I said those will be worth millions one day, but is it in like a voice that's hard to understand?
Yeah, I hope so. And well, I earned some Ergons selling actual stuff.
That's really cool. Huh?
And yeah, and I.
Oh, you also did liquidity provision. You did.
Yeah, I also do liquidity provision. Yes, because liquidity is the most important thing for something to be considered money. Money is by definition the most
liquid asset. Yeah.
Liquid asset on the market. Yeah. So for a coin to become money, like for the entire world, it has to get extreme liquidity. And what is actually happening when people are doing swing trading or scalping or like simple market making, because market making is good business on Ergon due to like guaranteed limited impermanent loss. Limited impermanent loss, right? Because if it always returns to the equilibrium, all the impermanent loss that maybe listeners will be familiar with from automated market makers, right? The impermanent loss disappears when the price returns back to where it was. So the things that are most profitable on Ergon are exactly the things that drive the liquidity. As I said, scalping and swing trading are also strategies of providing liquidity. They're not market making, but they're providing liquidity. And also, it's all stabilizing the system. Like right now, it might be insanely profitable to do that, like to do the swing trading, since we have big oscillations. But this profit will get when people will figure it out. The competition will appear, and yeah, and those profits from swing trading will be lower, and also the coin will be more stable, right?
Yeah. That's the ultimate goal.
Right. So this is no arbitrage, no dynamic really arbitrage principle.
Yeah, because you really almost like force people, or like you pay people to keep the coin stable. But fortunately or unfortunately, the consequence is that then it becomes very stable. But this makes it very useful for commerce usage. Yeah. And I mean, previously you said that the use case is peer-to-peer electronic cash, and of course, yeah, that's the thing. The thing for me is that I don't think that people in crypto really focus on that at all. Like most of it, they want something else. And
I mean, because it's not there. They don't focus about only because it's not there. It's not delivered.
I think the only ones doing it really well is USDT. and they have really good infrastructure there. But the downside there is that they're like, I mean, we pretty much know that USDT is how do you call it? Like it doesn't have
Under
like it doesn't
collateralized.
have it's under collateralized. But I think like they're the one, like they're doing ATMs in Brazil. They're doing they have a lot of adoption in Argentina. Like they're really, really. So I think we should really take a close look at them and see what what they are offering. Because as far as I know, USDT became big, and I don't think we can do that anymore. But USDT became big because it approached exchanges and was like, hey, if you adopt USDT, you have a base pair that's USD, which was very much in demand because like people didn't want to trade with BTC or something as base pair, and that way USDT became very, very popular. But I don't think that will be the killer app, so to speak, of Ergon anymore, because like now there's USDT already, right? So that's kind of filled. But I think in the future, people will really want something like Ergon because it has these like this very decentralized nature, very, very easy to use. It's not a Ponzi scheme, and that's also why I'm like kind of obsessed. Carol and I, we talk about like being obsessed from time to time, and I really quite obsessed with the plugin system for Chronic that you
Which is an
can,
indexer. Which is an indexer.
which is an indexer, yeah, which is running on Ergon already, right? Like there wasn't too much porting work, and there you can you can write little Python programs to deploy new kinds of protocols on Ergon. And I think what could be a killer app of peer-to-peer electronic cash that we aren't really like using yet is these little little new kinds of protocols that people aren't fully using yet. And I think what was missing there yet was good indexing infrastructure. We saw that with SLP, right? Like SLP fell on its face. Everybody complained about it because the indexing infrastructure was just bad. And we also had other new protocols, and they all, like, nobody really started using them because I think the indexing infrastructure was just really bad. But I think with yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just doing yeah.
Duck. Yeah, so yeah, and I think that I mean, I hope. I mean, it'll be a while, but like the cool thing is that Fabienne, who's like helping me a little bit with, or like who's the other side of Chronic, so to speak. He's also very excited about the plugin interface. He's a little bit like, yeah, but you know, like you should also work on the stuff that we like want you to do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's actually true. But but he he reviews them and when we merge them, the changes, and it'll be very interesting because like the things that you can do with the plugin interface would be like one of the things they want to do is the alias server. I don't know if you like, do you guys know ENS, the Ethereum name server or something? Carol, do you know that one?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure, I know.
And this always has been a big thing that people wanted to do on Bitcoin Cash, but the solutions were always very bad. Maybe there's a new one currently there, I think, with cash tokens. But the previous ones, what was it, cash accounts or something like that? They were not good, and I wanted to use them. I wanted to use them for Bcash, but they just didn't work because you only have one address that you assign to it, and then like you can't change it ever again. And now with the plugin system, it would be really easy to just write like a thing that where you just color an output as like the whole plugin system works with coloring. You just color an output as a certain name. Yeah, of course, you have to make sure that names can only be used once, which is a little tricky, but can be done. And then you like there's nothing that prevents you then to extend the plugin so that you can move the like the address to different places. And yeah, I think that's really cool. I don't want to take up too much of talking about the plugin interface, but I think it's a really novel thing that could very well suit it on Ergon, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I still have yet to write my first plugin. I have several ideas.
Yeah, I can.
What to do with it?
I can do a workshop maybe at some point with the current implementation.
Yeah, awesome. That would be awesome.
You guys,
Yeah.
you guys can go on to any topic you want.
Oh, you muted yourself.
I had my mouse over it and I accidentally clicked it. But you guys can go into any topic you want. This is just like a town hall,
open thing. Yeah.
It's just so people can understand who the Ergon community is. Eventually, I'll probably force us to stick to certain topics other times. Right now, I'm just having fun. I want you guys to have fun too.
Yeah.
But Tobias, I should have asked you this a lot sooner, but I'll just say it outright. Like, what do you do? What's your background? What do you do involving crypto? And do you have any projects you work on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I sorry to, I'm still recovering from the flu, so I look a little like I'm just a chud who has no energy whatsoever, but that is not actually the truth. I'm a very healthy man usually, who I don't know. I started getting into computer science from like super early on. Like I don't know. I always wanted to go into computer science. And even as a kid, I started hacking the graphics calculator at math. It was actually interesting. I always had good grades in math until we got the graphics calculator, and then they like dropped by like half or something. So they got like really, really bad. And I don't know, teachers didn't really get concerned. So I don't know, but I got really concerned, but I don't know if I changed anything. So yeah, I sacrificed my maths grade for an excellent computer science education that I just taught myself pretty much. And later they recovered like maths grades. And then I went to HP actually, Hewlett Packard. There's a thing in Germany called. So I'm from Germany, living in Liechtenstein now. There's a thing in Germany called dual study, where you study at a company. You work at a company, and then you also study at the university, like in tandem, like every 3 months. And it's like, well, you're basically an employee, but you're also a student. And I think for computer science is really the ideal model because you really need both, right? Like you need the practical skills, but you also really need the theoretical background, like formal languages, how does encryption work, and so forth. And you don't learn that by just building projects. But all the formal knowledge doesn't give you the ability to like intuitively structure projects, build architectures, and so forth. So I'm glad that I had both. And I could also work in bigger teams. And then during that time, I got really interested in crypto. Actually, like I did buy some Ethereum at $10 per Ethereum, which back in the day was pretty cheap. Unfortunately, I sold it around the same price because I was like, I mean, Carol could go on a speech how, yeah, that's not how crypto is supposed to work anyway, and I agree. But it still was a little bit annoying that it went up so much. anyway. But I was really interested in the technology. I really dug into how Bitcoin works. I really got into how Ethereum works, a little bit at least. Mostly Bitcoin, though, to be honest. I read Mastering Bitcoin, and I really was like, wow, this is really cool, right? This is like such a cool thing. How Merkle trees work, how signatures work, how all the things work. And then kind of just sat on it for a while. I then moved on to the German Aerospace Center, and I'm just giving you guys like my entire CV, but I had tried to make it a little bit entertaining, but let me know if
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like going too
entertaining.
slow. So then I actually went to the German Aerospace Center to do a simulation project, nothing to do with crypto, but I got more and more interested. And what was especially interesting to me was, and probably what I'm curious how Carol got into that. What really got me much more interested in crypto was the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, where Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash split into two separate blockchains, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And there I was, because like I was always a little bit like unhappy with Bitcoin because it was not cheap to use. I mean, it was like when I was kind of getting a little disgruntled. It was like a dollar or so to use, or something, or half a dollar per transaction. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, this can't really compete with, because I know we know how markets work, right? Like if you have a completely new radical product, it has to be 10 times better or cheaper or whatever. And if it's like, I don't know, twice times worse or like 5 times worse, then it's not gonna work, right? So that was pretty obvious to me. So I was, keeping it in the periphery. I was actually I was thinking really hard on how to scale Bitcoin before Bitcoin Cash came along. I was like really looking at different accumulators, things like that. Garo's image is just deteriorating. It used to be a wave, now it's just.
I'm sorry, I was trying to set myself a meme on my video, but I'll just return to what I had.
2D wave plot, yeah, the best. My old
Yeah.
best friend. The sine wave in 2 dimensions. So where was I? Yeah, so I was really into just how to scale Bitcoin in general. I remember like looking at accumulators, at like sharding, at all these things, and then Bitcoin Cash came along, and they were just like, "Yep, we raised the block size to 8 MB. That's it." And I'm like, "Okay, what? Like that's it?" And initially, I actually thought that they were stupid and sold all my airdropped Bitcoin Cash. And then later, I realized like, oh no, actually, they have a point. Not all the voices on BTC that say it's a scam are right. I mean, it probably, there is a certain aspect to it where it's a scam, but to the same reason, of course, that BTC is a scam. And I'm using air quotes here, right? Like it's not really a scam, but like it has scam-like tendencies, which I very, very much detest. Especially, I mean, at least BTC is like just like going all the way, right? They're like, no, like this is not meant to be useful. This is meant for you to put money in it and make people who already have it rich, right? At least they're like honest about it. Unfortunately, that also causes, right? Like at least they say it. Unfortunately, this is like prey for regulators. They're like, well, no, so you guys are just a pyramid scheme. And I mean, every Bitcoiner has to admit, like, yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing, right? Like everybody puts in money, it goes up, and everybody becomes rich. And I guess, I mean, it's not that simple, of course, but yeah. So I wasn't really too interested in that. Yeah, also, I back in the day, I really was a libertarian and wanted to use crypto for good, because I mean, the Federal Reserve really is a huge problem. Fiat money is a huge problem, but it also, like, ironically, like we all hate on fiat money. It's also a big solution, right? Like it is something that we kind of need in a technologized, industrialized world where we really need to be able to move money very, very quickly. and this is just what we have, and it works really, really, really well. Fortunately, it occasionally leads to like big wars and people dying and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of like kind of okay. But I think it's really time for something, more base, more something better, and that's why I really was into crypto, and still am. It's still the same reason.
May I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, my long ramble, please.
We have some like a timer going down, like time remaining. Is that the end of?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Oh, really? We do?
I'm not on the paid program apparently, so
So you can't record more than some amount.
I figured we just
Restart
start over.
Oh, I should have said that because I have a paid account.
Okay. When it ends, do you want to set up a new meeting so we can continue?
Yeah, I can set a new meeting and you can record it because I'm not going to record shit. Yeah.
Okay.
We can do it right now. Like.
Yeah, but can I record it when I'm not the host?
Yeah. You can. I
Okay.
think.
Right,
so we will have we will glue them together before putting it on the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do it right now because then it's a natural cut kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, do we have any sponsors? This episode is sponsored by Ergon.
No, but we have this nice idea. I came up with it, so it's obviously nice. So that we will also put it on torrent, on BitTorrent network, and add a small file that will list a donation address. I mean, either a donation address or a token ID to airdrop us, the participants, so that the viewers who like that and who want to support us can airdrop us maybe with some Ergons.
By the way, you should spell airdrop with an ER, like in Ergon. Anyway.
Eardrop?
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Kind of a joke.
Airdrop.
Airdrop.
I don't.
ER-drop.
DROP.
ER-drop. Okay. So see you in a second, right?
Yeah. Let's see you in 500 milliseconds.
This meeting is being recorded.
Right, perfect. And there's no limit. Awesome.
Right? Isn't that ballers? It's
Yeah.
probably one of my best investments in software. I mean, probably there's been better ones.
Yeah.
The ones that are free, but like it's just so much simpler to just have paid Zoom account. Haters gonna hate, but
Yeah. Well, I'm probably gonna buy it after this because like I don't want to make like promises I can't keep, but I'm genuinely hoping to like do these community calls like once a week, just so like, people could, if we make a YouTube channel out of it, people can just at least look at the YouTube channel and see that we're alive and breathing.
Yeah.
Just to add some more content for people.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to say.
There we go.
I wanted to address something that you said in the last part, and it was that BTC people are no longer pushing for this cash narrative, and I find it like. I recently heard this piece of wisdom from systems design, that the purpose of a system is what it does. So like you shouldn't judge something for what it is told to be. You should judge it for what it actually does. And I mean, BTC community is more aligned with what Bitcoin actually does, and it doesn't do cash. It doesn't do peer-to-peer electronic cash. It's not what it actually does. And I think this like discrepancy between what is being said and what is being promoted is what kind of like determines the uh,
Yeah, the
the
actual key
hardship.
loss is the actual, yeah, the actual purpose. The
You're
actual
saying
thing.
because it's not, it
By the way,
doesn't,
hello, Alex, whoever that is.
Hey, hello.
It's currently off, but just want to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will, go ahead.
oh, he unmuted. Hello? All right, that's okay. So I was gonna say, because, it's Rodney, what's up?
Yo, yo,
Hey.
yo.
Um,
How you doing?
Bonjour.
hey, we're just talking stuff right now. I was in the middle of talking about what Carol just said. So if I'm getting what you said correctly, you're saying because Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash don't function the way Ergon does with a dynamic supply, that Bitcoin is actually more aligned with its what cryptos are.
No, I think he's differentiating between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe you could,
Yeah, I do both. I do both. Both is good. So well, yeah, Bitcoin Cash is doing worse than Bitcoin because it's promoting something that it isn't.
right.
Right? It isn't peer-to-peer electronic cash, and Bitcoin BTC actually embraces that.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah, that's a
that's why
good point.
that's
I
why it
never
works.
thought
Yeah.
about that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Carter and I, we kind of came to that conclusion a while ago, and now it makes much more sense. I mean, I still use BCH, still like it, I still think it's good. But and it's the same thing with eCash, right? Like eCash is also a fork.
So
It's a fork of Bitcoin Cash, and it has the same schedule and everything as BCH, but it just like it just won't deliver on
has anyone
the.
has
Yeah.
anyone in the Bitcoin or anyone here asked the Bitcoin Cash community if they're actually peer-to-peer cash, why are they trying to build a stable coin?
Wait, are or aren't?
Are
Well,
why
Bitcoin
they
Cash
are
is
trying to?
they're not trying to build a stablecoin, right?
I'm pretty sure the community is.
Oh no, that's true. That's true. Like Mathieu approached me because he wants to build a collateralized, over collateralized stablecoin using cash tokens.
Yeah, I just thought that
Yeah.
was funny.
Yeah, of course, and it makes total sense. Like even in back in the day when I was convinced, it was like crystal clear to me that like you need both for it to work. You can have the kind of Bitcoin thing that in the long term then becomes money, but in the
But
short
it actually
term you
doesn't.
yeah,
But it
exactly.
actually does.
Yeah, that was my ultimate conclusion then. Yeah, we kind of differ there because like for me, I use eCash and I'm happy with using eCash forever because I don't use eCash as a as value. I use it just as a fuel, right? I use it as a engine, and the actual value then is in tokens, and that way, I get something that just works, and can build a product on it. People can use it, and since eCash is so cheap, that's actually a huge advantage for me right now. I mean, it has to kind of keep a balance because I also want the infrastructure there to work. But if it goes too high, as in Bitcoin's case, um, and that always was like really funny, right? Like Bitcoiners, like BCHers would always say like, "Hey, it's so cheap to use Bitcoin Cash. You can just send transactions. It's like a tenth of a cent." and then Bitcoiners would say like, oh no, it also costs just 1 Satoshi per byte, but since Bitcoin had a much higher price, it would be much more expensive to use, even though it had the same base unit price. It's occasionally, and that kind of shows that like a higher coin price, like if the coin price is higher, it makes it harder to use in commerce because the fees just become higher. So if you have a cash or like yeah, peer-to-peer cash narrative, and you have a number go up narrative, they clash. They're on opposite, like they don't they have opposite poles of the price. And yeah, and that's why I'm like, interested in working on eCash mostly. Of course Ergon as well, but that is more for the long term. I think that yeah, we'll just have to throw stuff at Ergon and see what sticks, kind of. What'll be the killer app.
Can you tell us about Pay to Stay?
Yeah, absolutely. So me and my co-founder, we met through like really random circumstances. So previously I was working on Lotus, and with Shama, he's we became friends. I mean, now he's having problems with the devil, but we'll solve that. Uh, uh, just started yelling at me anyway, and he connected me to someone else, and that guy then connected me to someone, and we founded a company, Pay to Stay. Interestingly enough, my co-founder, he's actually from my neighborhood where I come from originally in Germany, but he's in America, so kind of a weird coincidence. And he's in the event industry for like 20 years. And what we discovered, or what he discovered, and now I'm on board, is that in the events space, there's like all kinds of apps and systems and whatnot, right? There's like, I don't know if you guys know these. There's Ticketmaster, there's Eventbrite, there's like Nation, there's Meetup. There's like so many different apps, but none of them target the exclusive medium-sized event niche. Like, there just isn't an app that you can really use well. And my co-founder noticed that, right? He's like, there just isn't something for that. I want something that fits like where I can do these events using an app. And ironically, the biggest tool that is used in that market currently is pen and paper. And my opinion, that can be upgraded. So that's why I'm working on that, and my team is working on that. Yeah, so we found this niche, and yeah, we're just making sure, like, some of the features that we have is like, very fast ticket buying, very fast to set up an event, affiliate, a really sophisticated affiliate model, where you can check in people using a very secure QR code. I always say I completely over-engineered the check-in system, where like it's way too safe. But I think like the thing in the event space is that people are really untrustworthy, especially in like where my co-founder is located, which is Los Angeles. Like, people there like cheat and steal and whatever. Like, this is just like normal almost. Like, it's like, well, you didn't like why didn't you prevent yourself from me screwing you over, right? Which is really it's like, are you stupid? But yeah, go ahead.
It's part of the system purpose is what it does philosophy.
It's like, why are you
If
trying
you
to be
can
honest,
break
man?
it, then it is a feature, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what Pay to Stay really tries to do is just operate in this low trust environment and just use encryption and all these new modern technologies that we have to manage these events. And one of the things that was very clear very early on is that crypto is going to be a really, really big part there, because it is really, really hard to chase people down for their money, and credit cards can be weird. Yeah, so
How do those people cheat?
So they,
Like-
I mean, many ways. So there's, because I could go to talk about it for hours, but it's a very, very good question. So there's two. Let's pick one type of event. So one type of event where you just go and then at the door you're expected to pay, right? So what people do is they come and then they're like, you know what? I don't have the money right now, but can I come anyway? And I'll pay you next week, right? And you see where this is going, right? So
Yeah,
they,
like unpaid credit.
yeah, they get a marker. It's written down, and then then my co-founder has to go from person to person like a beggar. He said, or like and be like, okay, well, can you give me my money? And they're like, you know what? Right now, it's really difficult. I know I owe you, but it's just so stupid, right? It's like, well, what's wrong with you guys, right? Just pay, but whatever. People really want to not pay, so they like trick and delay and do everything they can to not pay up their debts. And so that is one way. That is one way to do it. The more sophisticated, I guess, way to do it is, so we have another potential client, and they told us about their issues. So one way people cheat is they just climb the fence, which is one way to do it. But unfortunately, Pay to Stay can't really help there because we are not a fence. We are an app, and yeah. But another way that people cheat is, for example, there's an app called Partiful that most people use in LA, where you can RSVP to events. It's really cool, really slick, really hip. Unfortunately, it's not very safe, which they didn't optimize for, right? But for some people, this is really important. So you sign up, and then you get, after you sign up to an event, you get the full list of attendees, because they kind of want to, brag with that. Hey, look at all these cool people coming, right? Here's the list of attendees. And then what you get as a host, you get a CSV file with all the names of the guests, right? So you can print that out, give that to your bouncer, and then he can check those people in. The problem is that if this list is public, then people can just go there, like pick one of the names of the list, say that name, and then go in, right? And there's no way really to check. And people do that. Like, it's a very common and very problematic thing. Also, it's kind of a buzzkill, because if just random schmoes can just come, it kind of destroys the vibe of the thing. So that's another way people cheat. Yeah, I think those are the most important. There's also more brutal ones. So occasionally people do get robbed, actually, because if there's a lot of cash, you can imagine that that can create weird incentives. So yeah, there's a lot of issues in that front, and we can actually kind of solve all of them by using cryptography at the end of the day.
Nice. I've seen a YouTuber doing a video where he breaks into conferences in the stupidest ways possible. One of those was that he was dressed as a bush, just grass on top of his head, and he was walking in. Once he entered with a dinosaur costume, pretending to be something like this. That's stupid stuff. But I imagine people do that actually in real life, not only, I heard that Universal Pass is carrying a ladder and having a a reflective shirt. Pretending to be an operator of the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's not as sophisticated, of course. It's more stupid and straightforward. Cat, it's cat time.
Oh, you might want to mute yourself, bro.
Or maybe come in and say something to us. No pressure, of course.
Yeah, so
and yeah, so one thing, so what, how does crypto get into pay to state? So what we actually do is we have a self-minting protocol, so that when you buy a ticket, you actually get a mint authorization code, and using that code, you can create some tokens on the eCash blockchain yourself. And then when, let's say there's a partial refund or something, right? Because refunds are also a big thing in events. Then you actually get the refund in those tokens. And since you create the tokens yourself, we're not subject to like money transmitter laws and stuff, which is a really slick way that I didn't discover. I can't take credit for them, for that idea, but it's a really genius way that Vinamani came up with that. I don't know. Do you recall him, Karo Vinamani?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, he came up with the self-minting protocol, which, you know, if you think about it, it's actually kind of obvious. But I mean, if you think about it, Ergon is also kind of obvious. So someone has to discover these things. Bitcoin is kind of obvious, right? You just do proof of work in a decentralized system. Like, that's a big deal, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, the simplicity. The beauty is in the simplicity, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like with the self-minting protocol, I'm like, wow, this is like this is so simple. And like, it's, when I get like almost like confirmed, right, of like people like, yeah, no, like this is actually how it works. Then you know, that's really, because like we've been using Stripe for a while, and Stripe really you cannot sell crypto using Stripe. Obviously, like you can't even sell mining hardware using Stripe, but we've been able to sell mint codes using Stripe, no problem. I mean, maybe at some point they'll be like, yeah, time's up, buddy. I don't know. But yeah, it's been really good, and yeah, I mean, we'll probably switch over to just selling tickets directly and then giving refunds in mint auth codes, which is pretty much the same thing, but streamlines it quite a bit. And like one of the reasons why like one thing that I kind of want to see is that like we also streamline refunds, because refunds is a huge issue in ticket sales, and I think especially for like smaller events, I think this could be a huge it seems to be a huge problem from the data that we have. And if we can just automate that, then we can reduce the costs of that, right? Like, if we can like also automate like the giving out of new tickets, you know, stuff like that, then everybody will be happier. But unfortunately, though, refunds can be quite costly on the margins because of credit cards, right? Like credit cards have quite high fees. Right now, for us, they are 3%, which doesn't sound too much, but since we are on the margin, you know, that is actually a lot of percentage. So if we stay in crypto, if we do everything in crypto, and in this case on eCash, the fee is virtually zero, right? Like it's just a few satoshis to make a transaction, and we can pocket basically all the difference. So that is very helpful for us on our end.
Yeah, this fee issue, with fees when the price goes up, like very early on Ergon, when after realizing that it will be pretty high in value per unit, with some help we dropped the default fee so that it is negligible, and yeah, and this problem with price growing and ruining the fee landscape is not present in Ergon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because it is
and you're good.
Yeah, it will just stay in some, you know, range of those fluctuations, of those oscillations, and after it stabilizes, it will it will be very predictable, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
come to think of it, even if in the case of you know, Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, when the price opposite of the price going up, down, like the fees aren't skyrocketing, but then you are holding something that crashes 50%. So you may not have had to pay a lot in fees, but the volatility cost you money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really tough to use in real life.
Yeah, and I think that's a common realization because when uh, Steam dropped support for Bitcoin, it was um, widely echoed around Bitcoin Cash community, and they always posted the announcement, and what they said is it was because of the fees. But in this announcement, there is also written that the price volatility was the second reason. Actually, it was the first reason, and the fees were the second reason.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, in this announcement, it's that we're dropping Bitcoin because of the price volatility and because of the high fees.
Well, wouldn't
Wow.
it would make perfect sense that the price volatility is the main reason, because what's worse, paying a $10 fee or losing 50% of your $100 balance?
Mm, mm.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it really, really hard to use.
Oh,
And
Tobias,
that's why we're using, like, I'm a big fan of stablecoins. I think they're a huge improvement of both the user experience, because you only have one balance, right? Like, you don't have to, well, okay, I have this amount of whatever BTC, BCH, and then this much in dollars, right? No, like, you have one amount. It's like PayPal, right? Like, this is your amount. Also with the postage protocol, which also was invented by Vinamani, right? So
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
which is a super simple protocol. There we go. Very good reference. Since basically the user doesn't pay their fee in satoshis, they pay their fee in the token. That way, they really only have one token that they deal with, that they think about, and it just improves the user experience massively. This is one of the, like, I pay a lot of invoices in USDT Tron, but then I always need to get Tron, and it's really it's really annoying. Tron is
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just a shitty thing that I kind of have to deal with. But if I had like a wallet that only had USDT and nothing else, right, then, and I paid my fee in USDT, that would have been much preferable. And that's what we've built. Like, this is live. This exists. This is on the interwebs.
isn't Tron doing like billions in stablecoin transactions?
I have no idea, but I don't think that's false.
Yeah, I definitely read that earlier this week. But
Yeah, they're doing well.
yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, yeah, all right. Just here with the cat.
Are you okay
Making
that
some.
this is recorded? Because
Oh yeah, no
I
worries,
should
no
warn
worries.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Tobias, earlier you talked about, I thought this was a really good point, and it kind of bridges the or it stitches together the timeline of how Ergon would be adopted, because right now it's not entirely stable because of the low liquidity, low volume, um, all that, uh, low market cap, just all that combined. But it's basically really good for people who are swing trading and scalping, because the incentives are such that it's actually profitable to basically stabilize the price of Ergon. And by the time that it's less profitable to do that because the price is getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and it's more and more competitive, then it's finally useful in commerce. So it kind of goes from like a swing tradable asset to a actual medium of exchange. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. And I'm, like if you want Ergon to grow, then you kind of have to find something that makes sense, even if it's a little bit volatile, which probably is something DeFi related, where like the volatility is a little bit part of the sale, more or less. It's like, well, this sometimes goes up, sometimes goes down a little. Yeah, I mean, I've also thought about games. I think Aragon and to be honest, eCash also naturally lend themselves, but especially Aragon to games, where like you have like I don't know some either some just traditional games or something totally new like RPG or something, but on the blockchain. I think that would be really cool. And there it doesn't really matter that the price is volatile. It's just just like I think it's like kind of just fun. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to see that grow, because if we want to find a killer app for Ergon or for peer-to-peer electronic cash, or as I like to say, Bitcoin, which some people might interpret the wrong way, but like I'll just use it that way. It has to be something where cashness is very important, or like the irreversibility is very, very important. Second words, it needs to be digital, such that you have, like it is in the name, electronic, right? Like, and I think over the internet, something that's very digital. So I think the torrent stuff that you guys are working on is a really good application for that. Like torrents is like a really saturated market to some extent, but maybe it gets a renaissance.
I mean, it doesn't have any original stuff. Nobody's publishing like original content there. People are publishing to YouTube, but people are publishing, and if you search torrent, I recently started on my own PC a crawler to see what's there on the network, like crawling the distributed hash table of torrent, and there are only things that are unoriginal. There is nothing original there.
Basically ripped stuff from like big
but
studios or something.
Isn't that the reason it exists? So people can basically take copyrighted content for free?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, essentially.
I mean, the cool thing, and this is something that I did not know, is that I don't know if you guys know the evolution of BitTorrent. I really see BitTorrent as part of the evolution of Bitcoin, but
Yeah.
that's another thing. But like it started with Napster. Do you guys remember Napster? I mean, it's probably out of our generation a little bit.
Yes.
But basically, how it worked is that it had a decentralized network of file sharing, but Napster coordinated that thing kind of. And then they got sued and whatnot, and other protocols emerged and stuff. And then actually BitTorrent came along. But interestingly enough, BitTorrent, for some reason, they marketed themselves really much as a pro copyright thing, right? It's like, oh, like this BitTorrent thing, like I don't like the author was very much like, oh no, like ripping copyrighted material is really bad, right? You shouldn't do that. Like these are pirates and so forth. Like with BitTorrent, like you share only uncopyrighted material, right? Like this is meant for this and that. I don't know if this guy was like an Uber troll, or if he like didn't get what he was building, or if it was like a super like 5D chess kind of thing. But I think it really worked, because like you kind of took the wind out of the sails of all the people who hated on these file sharing protocols, because if he's like this pro this pro copyright guy, then how can you really hate on him as a Disney or whatever? I sometimes feel like that. I think Tether is doing that. Because Tether is always like, if you look at their public relations, they're like, oh no, we are always on the side of the government, or like we will always comply with everything, right? But meanwhile, they do like the most shady stuff ever. And I'm like, are these like idiots, or are they like 5D giga chess players, and they really get it? And yeah, I don't know, like it's something special.
Well, torrent wasn't stopped not because there wasn't any pressure against it, but because it was unstoppable. I think that's the main reason why it survived. Napster had a single point of failure to be attacked, and torrent doesn't have.
Is if the author was like so pro copyright, but he wrote something that's unstoppable, is he like an idiot and just built something that's unstoppable, or is he like a gigachat that is like being able to pretend to be pro copyright but also build something that's unstoppable? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the case. I think he he must have known that eliminating the coordinating server is making it unstoppable, because that's how it was. Napster was closed, right? And CAD network that was somewhere in between. It was Emula, or how do you spell it? I mean, how do you read it? I don't know. Emula or Emuli. That was based on a distributed hash table, but the files themselves weren't distributed. It was just file discovery, and then people connected one-to-one, peer-to-peer, and downloaded those files. And it still could have been attacked, and the files disappeared easily because there were no like distributed peers who all shared files. It was slow because it wasn't distributed, but I think it still exists. It still survives. It's just not as good. But using Kademila, this distributed hash table with a metric, which is by the way very awesome thing to do to put a metric and do, on a graph. Yeah, so it I mean, torrent is just really good software. That's it.
Yeah, it's a really, although like not to hate on torrent, but the format is really weird. Like if you actually look at the spec, it has like all kinds of quirks, the way data is represented and stuff. But that's neither here or there.
Yeah.
Take a look, like in how integers are represented and strings and whatnot. Like it's like I've never seen anything like that. But that's, like I don't want to get into that. But
yeah, I've seen that. I have seen that.
Okay, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't I was what's happening here? Why?
Why? Am I being detained? Am I free to go?
Yes.
Carol, do you want to zoom out for a second with me and talk about some basics on Ergon, so I can have a segment, just sort of specifically to fundamentals.
Do you guys? Because you guys can do that. I'm getting a little bit weak. I'm still recovering. I think I'll hop off, but you guys can make like sound bites or something. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah. You're the host though.
I kind of assigned you as a host, I think.
Okay.
Make hosts. There you go. You should be host now.
Okay, cool.
Everything good? All right, guys. It was a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Always,
thank you so much.
Carol.
Okay.
Thank God we did not talk about God, but yeah, we'll see you
Thank
guys.
you too. See you.
Bye bye.
All right. I hope oh wow, so the recording still works and everything. So he can just basically give me the features of premium. That's good.
Nice.
If I ever don't want to pay for it, we can just call him in. All right, so let's get back on track, because I am gonna, when I put it on YouTube, I'm gonna have segments, time segments. So like you click on this time for that topic, that time for that topic. So people who want to get a bird's eye view of the project can just skip ahead to this part, so that I don't have to like edit everything and mix up the order in which we talk about things, I guess. So I guess my biggest question is, it's a sort of a 2-in-1 question, but why make Ergon elastic in supply? Why can't Bitcoin itself become money eventually once it's big enough and is liquid?
I'm sorry. I think it cut you off.
Okay.
What was the last thing you said?
Why can't Bitcoin itself become money once it's big enough and liquid?
Yeah, I think the contradiction is with Bitcoin being liquid. It just cannot become liquid on its own because it is fundamentally unstable, and instability ruins liquidity. In fact, so uh,
You're definitely cutting out.
Yeah, he's cutting out.
Let me try to message him.
Want to see my cat? There's a cat.
but so the entire future of the project, it cannot. There will always be volatility to it, and we have seen it doesn't get more. It still experiences these bubbles and those crashes, and this is like when you're a liquidity provider, when you're a market maker, price discovery is your main cost. So so you are much more likely to provide more liquidity to something that is more stable. So that's why like the pairs of stable coins on on Ethereum decentralized exchanges are the most liquid because they bear the least risk of impermanent loss. And yeah, and becoming money is all about liquidity. It's all about liquidity because, well, by definition, money is the most liquid asset on the market, which provides the most ease of trade, and essentially this is what it means that it is money, because you can exchange it for anything at any time at its face value. Um, you take money and you give it into exchange, and the thing is priced in it, right? So this is the ultimate ease of trade, and that's mm, that can't not develop if something is volatile and at the same time there is no like um, there is no mandate to use it, like it's not a national currency or something, right? So people don't gravitate towards using something that is unstable, like in commerce. Commerce is essentially also liquidity provision because any like any store is a liquidity provider for stuff for money, right? Market. I say that a lot in the Ergon chat, but I really like this this phrasing of that.
Right.
So
They provide like liquidity pairs between money and the goods that are in their store.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So money is all about liquidity, and not being able to achieve this liquidity uh, undermines the goal of Bitcoin becoming uh, cash, becoming money, right? Becoming an actual currency. It's called cryptocurrency, but well, it doesn't do currency, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get into that. I remember you saying that liquidity is so important that it's actually the reason that other properties of money emerge, such as medium of exchange, store of value, unit of account. I don't know if you mentioned those specifically, but I do remember you saying that like all the other good things that make money come from the fact that it's liquid. And
Yeah,
not,
I do think that it's the case.
yeah. Yeah. I remember I used to talk to stablecoin projects, like Ampleforth, and even though they may not have had the right vision or design or execution or really anything aside from aside from creating 4 new tokens to make money, um, we always did talk about how important liquidity was. Like liquidity really is everything, and it does make a lot of sense that, like you say, the liquidity and the stability having a relationship makes it impossible for Bitcoin to become money, because it'll always create bubbles because of the limited supply. It'll always become overbought and then create panic selling, which will make it oversold. And these are like big long-term boom and bust cycles in the market that basically kill liquidity. So Bitcoin is able to get a certain amount of liquidity. However, because of adding more exchanges that provide liquidity pairs, the Bitcoin ETF provided exit liquidity, as we saw. Whether it's permanent or temporary is yet to be known, but yeah, we've seen that Bitcoin can get some liquidity, but we also see that stable coins tend to suck up like, I don't know. I don't know how much it is, but I'll just say a random number, like 90% of the liquidity in crypto is stable coins. Like it's not even a competition. So Bitcoin, it really, it wouldn't become money because it's already being beaten by something that isn't Bitcoin, but is crypto. It's something else is already becoming the most liquid asset in the crypto economy, and that's like Tether, pretty much Tether or USDC, depending on what your ideals are. But yeah, um, let's see. Why is doing business with Ergon better than doing business with Bitcoin? And I know the simple answer is volatility, but I was hoping that you could just give your opinion on why it's better to build business with, or why the incentives push people towards building instead of hoarding.
Hmm. Yeah, even if you assume that Bitcoin will always be growing in price, even if you assume it will be always growing in price, then you would have to beat that growth with your investment. If you believe in Bitcoin enough to like start building on it, then maybe you believe in it enough uh, mm, to expect it to grow. Then any Bitcoin spent on anything else, like any Bitcoin spent is a waste of money because you won't outpace the growth that you're expecting. So if you're a believer in like this entire ethos of freedom, and you would want not to have a bank account just to sell stuff on the internet, like spin up an online store and just start selling things um, without a bank account or anything. um, you will conclude that doing that is a loss, and I have seen that in um, in Bitcoin Cash community, that the people desperately wanted to do business with Bitcoin Cash, uh, uh, or just build something with Bitcoin Cash, but this goal was always undermined by this expected growth. And what they actually did, they considered the money the Bitcoin Cash they spend on business or on any activity as already lost, and maybe making enough noise for the price to grow, so that what they're left with, the coins they are left with, appreciate in value. So this driven something that uh, uh, well, not only I but also other people called announcement driven development, that people built things that weren't actually useful, but they were meant to be loud announcements. So very often, project never went beyond an announcement, never went beyond the prototype, never actually had any market to serve, because well, other people also didn't want it to spend their coins, because those who actually believed it is a worthwhile endeavor to even do something with your crypto, not only to sit on it, like believed in this freedom and well, peer-to-peer electronic cash, expected expected the coin to outgrow any gains that they can get from buying something or starting a business. So I think what we avoid when doing business on Ergon, the fact that there is no expectation for like a wild growth, just for it to be oscillating, makes it more spendable, but also more secure to hold because, well, you won't get such a big crashes. So yeah, those are my thoughts on. I don't know if it answers your question well.
Yeah, so what you were saying was that um you only want to actually spend or use Bitcoin if you were expected, if that spending was expected to outpace the growth of price. Because if it
Yeah,
doesn't, you're losing money, and that's bad business.
yeah,
Like the biggest business in Bitcoin is holding it.
yeah, yeah. That's it.
I mean,
You
with
have
it,
to have something that will profit you much more than that, and well, what would that be if you're a believer? And if you're a believer, then you're the one who would be building on Bitcoin, right? Because one thing is to ask what are the advantages compared to building on building a business on top of dollar, and another is asking about building on top of Bitcoin. If you want to build on Bitcoin, then you are a believer, right? You
Mhm.
believe in this freedom. You believe in the promise of you know of peer-to-peer electronic cash.
Right. Um, the other thing I was going to talk about are well, we were just talking about it, but I wanted to highlight it, is the instability of Bitcoin causing like bull and bear markets, like these boom and bust cycles, and they tend to last like years. Like even though in 2021 we thought we were so far ahead um, when it comes to progress in crypto, we then had another crash that lasted multiple years. So on the broader horizon, we're looking at like, I don't know, let's say like a few 100% growth every couple of years in price and adoption, but then it crashes like 80% and it wipes away a lot of that progress that was made in adoption. So I don't know how long it would take, but it feels like it would take decades for Bitcoin to ever become
Hmm.
liquid enough, just because these market cycles last so long, and it's because of the price correction and the market basically overheating because of its instability. If it was stable, um, we wouldn't have to deal with that, and we could just liquidity could just grow vertically forever, like probably not literally nonstop forever, um, because there's other factors at play. But there's no price overheating that stops that impedes growth. And I'm I'm not a mathematician, and I can't do like simulations, but it does make me wonder how long it would take to get to mass adoption with Bitcoin, because we have these um, cycles that last years. Like it's been 15 years,
Yeah.
16 years, and we still have what was the peak of Bitcoin's price? Like 70K, and it went back down to less
Yeah,
than,
I think so.
I think it
I
went
think so.
below like 10K after that. So
Yeah, yeah,
15 years later, and many billions of dollars um, put into the market, and we still have these like 80%, 80+% crashes. So it doesn't, people say it's getting less volatile over time, but it seems like that rate of smaller volatility is taking a really long time. And maybe I'm looking at the wrong time frame. Maybe they just mean like day-to-day volatility.
Hmm.
But between each cycle's top and bottom, the volatility is still so insane that I don't, it's hard to see it becoming money. And
yeah,
it took me 6 years to realize that. Well, maybe I realized that a little sooner than 6 years, but I was definitely a hopeful optimist when it came to Bitcoin. Um, and that's what kept me around in the space, because we were pivoting and letting Bitcoin be a store of value, even though we know it's not technically that, it's a speculative asset. Um, but we let it be a base money for which we use to collateralize stable coins like USDC. Well, we don't use Bitcoin for that. We use, I think they use ETH, but you get my point.
yeah.
These store of value tokens suddenly started becoming collateral for actual money, and that's what I was personally clinging on to for a long time, was that um, Bitcoin and Ethereum act as a collateral for actual money and cash. But that has its own drawbacks. It has, it introduces oracles, it introduces pegs, and it introduces over collateralization, which some people um, are aware of the term capital efficiency, and over collateralization is incredibly capital inefficient, because for every $1 worth of stablecoin you're minting, you're locking up $1.50 of a um, sorry, I was looking at the chat. Um, you have to put in, you have to lock up $1.50 worth of Ethereum or Bitcoin. Um, so there's, I don't want to mess up the terminology, but there is like a diminishing return on creating new uh, stables. Like you could print if it was capital efficient and you only had to put like $1 in to a collateralization um, contract to mint the stable, you could do that over and over again by borrowing off of the money that you had and mint more uh, dollars with it. So it doesn't have this. I forget the. I really do forget the terminology I used to use for it, but
Mhm.
it in the case of over collateralized coins, it does have this diminishing rewards effect of um, of I'm so sorry, of leveraging
Mm.
your money, whereas something that was truly capital efficient, like one to one ratio. There's no diminishing return on leveraging that money. So, and that's just one example. There's lots of more examples of why the over collateralization and capital inefficiency really kills markets. You know, people don't want to have to lock up almost $2 for every dollar that they're trying to create. And yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say about that. Just the capital efficiency problem regarding crypto. And Ergon doesn't have this because it's not collateralized. So
Yeah.
once it becomes stable, it's literally the definition of capital efficient.
That's right. I never thought of that in these terms. Indeed. What I wanted to comment on what you said, it takes so long for those cycles to happen, and when will it stabilize? Right? We kind of need this freedom right now, right? We need peer-to-peer cash right now because well, the landscape of the world is getting pretty grim. Whatever political option you might identify with, that should resonate with anyone, that we kind of need to do something to distribute some power to the to the people. Well, at least it will resonate with anyone who's anti-authoritarian, so that's like that from right to left. And my other comment I wanted to add is that the fact that you cannot get your money back from Bitcoin, like the purchase, like you can't get the purchasing power for like a year or two, or for 3 or 4 years, because it crashed, and you have to wait until it recovers. It is also a problem of liquidity, because one of the like components of this term liquidity is immediacy. Is the time that it takes you to like access the value of your assets. So when you have it, like, and you value it for, like, you have half a Bitcoin, and you bought it at the 40K, and it's been below 40K for 2 years now, and you're waiting to get that value back. This is an issue of immediacy. You cannot get your money right now, right? Something that is liquid would be like you can get the value out anytime you like you want to buy a car, so you buy a car, and this is otherwise a rephrasing of store of value, like you just store this value, you don't invest, you have this value right at your hand, you can use it immediately. This is precisely the issue of liquidity, right? So in a way, volatility is directly limiting this liquidity. The question before was about the conflict between liquidity and volatility. And this is one of the like one of the simplest ways to put it, I think, that like you don't have this immediacy of getting your value back.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's like a different form of impermanent loss because when the price crashes, you temporarily lose access to a lot of your liquidity that you previously had. And it's just it's like everything. I know you had like four factors of liquidity. It was like immediacy. Um, you can remind me what the other ones were.
Yeah, I have this article open because I had to check what was the exact word. So there were five of them, and there is like immediacy, time it takes to sell an asset, tightness is the cost of transaction, depth is the abundance of order on different price levels, breadth, how much a large trade will affect the price, and resilience, how fast an equilibrium is found after a shock.
Yeah.
So those are yeah. Ergon lacks on all of those still, but we're seeing an improvement. Right, we don't have yet enough resilience to quickly go back to this equilibrium, and that harms the immediacy, right? And all of those are like interconnected. Mm, a large trade will affect the price, right? Because the market cap is still small, but we're on the way to improve that over time as people learn about it, as people start trading it, and do things with it, like Tobias was as Tobias was saying, building
Yeah. That's
cool
why
protocols.
I asked you a few days ago, how stable would Ergon be if it had Bitcoin's market cap, which I think is even a better question when you think about the impact that the ETF had on Bitcoin's price. So just with a couple of days of ETF trades, it was able to crash the price of Bitcoin by like, I don't know, 20%. And it's Bitcoin's like it's like an $800 billion asset.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was at some point it was like like uh, $1 trillion asset, right?
yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just wondering if you think it would have been any different considering Aragon's incentives, considering the fixed production cost, well, the basically the market psychology of the fixed production cost and the fact that people wouldn't rationally keep crashing the price because they want to buy it up below production cost. So do you think it theoretically would have been able to take the market hit better than Bitcoin without having to burn coins?
Yeah, um, a large part of Bitcoin is outside of the market. It doesn't participate. It is held in vaults, uh, and on the and it was mined on those early days. Uh, this is the deep capital we as we call it.
Right.
Um,
Some people
uh,
some people mined or bought their Bitcoin for like 50 cents, and some
yeah,
were or let's say more reasonably, like $10. Like the whales who were buying Bitcoin at like between $10 or $100, probably because they're whales and because they were smart money, they probably still had a bunch of Bitcoin at that dollar cost average price when the ETF came out. So they were so extraordinarily in the green that the second there was more exit liquidity, they took advantage of it. Whereas in Ergon, this wouldn't have happened.
Uh,
Because
yeah.
it wouldn't have happened because there was no extraordinary upside of the price. So no one was suddenly like, oh, Ergon has an ETF. I can sell off all my gains now because there aren't any.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah, something like this. Also, uh, 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 Alex asked
Yeah, I
a
see.
question about Ergon being linked into real world assets as well as production costs. I think production cost is a real world asset, like the electricity, right? Electricity is indeed a real world thing. I seen a thumb up, so that answers your question, I guess. And my other comment on the previous thing was that in Ergon, all of the coins essentially immediately hit the market. Like we had this problem, and we still have it. That after this mm, mm, large influx of people, like those 2 months ago, um, the largest holder of Ergons was the exchange. It had like at peak, it probably had like 90% of all coins in the circulation. So it like no coins, like essentially no coins at all were stored in the vault, right? Because it's not for holding, it's for trading, it's for circulating, it's for being alive in this bloodstream of the economy. So everyone is the price, because of that, the price has to be very real, and like the fact that this equilibrium does exist, um, then like there is a real equilibrium that is to be discovered, um, then any deviation from this equilibrium uh, essentially doesn't reveal any new information about the system. Like this is very common thing that economists say, that the price adapts to the new information by the market, like the distributed information that is there across all of the people who participate in the market. They, by making those small choices, each and every one of them is making small choices, and this truth about the world is revealed. And there is one truth about this about Ergon, that it has this equilibrium. So the price should, if when the resilience is high, so when the liquidity is high, the price should just be bouncing back, because people will be just leveraging the fact that the system is known. The system is
Right.
the all of the information about the system is already there.
Right. I guess what you're saying is that because everyone knows it, once everyone understands the game of, let's just say the game is scalping and swing trading, when it goes below or above production cost, the game's basically over once everyone understands the game. And
Yeah,
there's no, basically instability is not possible at that point. because everyone, the information asymmetry is at its minimal point. So there's, and the instability is not just about liquidity, but it's also about that information asymmetry. If everyone trading, every single Ergon trader that ever existed or will ever exist, if they all understood, and I mean like genuinely understood how the protocol worked, there would be no scalping or swing trading because no one would
because
deviate from the
as
equilibrium.
yeah, essentially you would just put one fat order for buying the entire supply below the equilibrium, one fat for selling what you have, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Game over.
And this is the entire market making you're doing. Like it's like market making a stable coin versus a stable coin when you know that they won't collapse. Like none of them will collapse. You make one order on selling at 1.01 and another at buying at 0.99, and you're just waiting, and that's it, and that's your entire market making. You're essentially making mm, the like earning the spread, and that's it, and you're not worried about any impermanent loss because well, they are exchangeable one to one, right? So that's that's just it. We have yet to go there because nobody actually. I mean, we need market to discover this equilibrium, right? Through the by leveraging their knowledge of mining, the costs, the distribution of how the miners are actually distributed in the world, and but we will get there, and this will bring huge stability, I think.
Alex also said I meant building liquidity I'm sorry, utility
Utility.
businesses that bring volume, like a store, for example.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I think he was talking about pairs.
Yeah, they are pairs. Yeah, they're like the pairs on an exchange, but against something that is even more stable than a stable coin, right? If you sell food, then well, it is not affected by inflation, so that's perfect, right? So I mean, it is. I mean, the food itself, well, is something that inflation is referencing, right?
Yeah, are those these store liquidity providers, the stores that provide like dollar to commodity liquidity, are they incurring the loss from inflation because of the well, the loss of purchasing power of the dollar?
Yeah, because they are essentially providing this liquidity against the dollar. So all the dollars they have stored is losing the value. Like when the inflation is high, what businessman is doing is buying for the buying this for the warehouse, right? Warehousing the stuff because the stuff isn't devaluating. It's the dollar that is devaluating. And they're essentially decreasing their exposure to dollar because the stuff that they have, the actual commodities, they aren't losing any value.
Right. And can we explain to viewers here the difference between Ergon's supply expansion and the difference between dollars inflation and losing the purchasing power. Like, why isn't Ergon inflationary? And I know to you it's obvious, but I just wanted to get an explanation for the video.
Yeah, we went through that on the Telegram chat over and over for the newcomers, right? So it's quite an important point to make. Ergon, I mean, we define inflation in crypto as supply expansion, while in economy we define it. I'm sorry. We define it as price increases in things that are bought for it, right? So it's the loss of value of the coin, and it only seems the same like the inflation that is being used in crypto and inflation in economy. It's only the same thing on a really like simplistic level, because ultimately when you can say Bitcoin has this and this inflation, while you mean Bitcoin has this and this supply expansion, right, per year. Like there is so many there is this many Bitcoins coming into circulation every year, but when the price collapses by 80%, this is not this should be considered inflation, and people will still say no, there is no inflation in Bitcoin. Like, well, by definition from economics there is, and Ergon not being inflationary, this is said by the definition of economics, not the definition coming from crypto, right? So what we mean here is it will not depreciate in value against, I mean, it will not depreciate in purchasing power. And if dollar collapses, well, Ergon will skyrocket in dollar, but it won't change its purchasing power. I mean, assuming it's liquid already, right? With 100K market cap, even a moderate transaction well can affect it. Not to mention how it was affected when the price was I mean when the supply was four coins in circulation, right?
Yeah, I think the
so-
volume's gonna have to improve more than the market cap.
Yeah. So I think that it's important to make this distinction and call out an equivocation, because there is an equivocation in crypto of like calling different ideas by the same name. Again, cryptocurrency calls supply expansion as inflation, while economics calls by the same name just the drop in price of the currency.
Right, like devaluation.
Purchasing power, the purchasing power. Right.
Yeah. I remember we pointed out that after 2.5 years of Ergon's existence, there was still less coins in circulation than there were after Bitcoin's first 10 minutes of existence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
people
this
who
is
wanna
crazy.
Yeah, for people who want to talk about inflation, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Just immediately, and then the second block in 20 minutes in, 50% inflation. But yeah, thanks for clearing that up. I appreciate it.
All right.
What you were talking about earlier, commenting on what I said about these market cycles and how we need a stabilization mechanism like now,
Yeah.
not decades from now when it somehow magically defies economics and becomes liquid enough to handle breadth, like big purchases, to not crash the and sales to not crash the price. But it's just such a good point because what what do we really gain from waiting decades to achieve to build a currency when you have something like Ergon, which you know, once that becomes $1 trillion market cap asset, it's going to be really hard to make it to keep it volatile. Like that's going to be hard to do. So I love bringing that question to people's minds of like how long are you really willing to wait for Bitcoin to stabilize, assuming that it can? And some people say like 10 years, 20 years. And we don't even know what the world's going to be like in 10 to 20 years. So like you say, we need some freedom now. And we're not going to get that with stable coins because they're still tied to the dollar. They still suffer.
And they are censorable, right? If they weren't, maybe that would be a decent, at least a decent option, right? Because right now the best way to do peer-to-peer transactions is just plain old physical cash, but you cannot do that at distance,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And the one thing that I wanted to bring up personally, it's not a question, but it's something that I wanted to mention since we were talking about how Ergon's good for business. And there's a specific reason why I think it's good for business in DeFi, because DeFi is all about, I think this is the right term for this circumstance, but it's all about like rehypothecating your money through peer-to-peer financial applications. So like taking your money, putting it into MakerDAO, minting stable coins, and then lending out those stable coins on Aave for yield. Or just simply providing liquidity to a automated market maker pool. All of these things require stability, and they also, well, yeah, they all require stability to some degree because liquidity pools, you need stable coins on Uniswap. You need stable coins on lending and borrowing markets because people they want to owe the same amount of money when the contract ends that they borrowed. And you can't do that with Bitcoin because if you borrow 1 BTC and then you try to pay the loan back, let's say like 6 months later, and it's up 100%, you suddenly owe twice as much money as you borrowed plus interest. So the
Yeah.
interest, as the price is going up, the interest is growing. Like, and I guess what I'm getting at is one of my favorite examples for why Ergon is so good for DeFi has to do with the way liquidations work in borrowing and lending platforms. So if the collateral, and this is the case for other things, but I'm just going to stick to borrowing and lending. The collateral for your loan, you put in, like $150 of BTC, and you get back $100 of borrowed money off of that collateral, and you pay interest over time. And what happens is if your collateralization ratio drops below, I think it's 80%, it will automatically liquidate your position to cover, to basically cover the protocol so that it doesn't become insolvent or illiquid or broke. I don't know how to say it, but there's this risk of liquidations, and there's this risk of, if you're not watching your loan 24/7 and you're not recapitalizing your loan every time price drops, or if price just, let's say a bunch of longs, a bunch of leveraged longs get liquidated all at once, and or a crypto asset that's not very liquid just flash crashes, and you have no warning or no time at all to react to it, suddenly your collateral just disappears. It's gone.
Yeah.
And the way I see Ergon fitting into the DeFi narrative is that if you have collateral that's stable, you don't have to worry about forced liquidations, because there's no scenario in which it drops enough to force a liquidation. And also, what was the other thing I was going to say? Not enough to force liquidations, and there's no cascading liquidations. So, which is when liquidations cause a price crash.
Yeah.
Causes more liquidations, which causes another price crash, and it spirals out. And that's what happened on that Black Wednesday event that we had back in, like, I think it was 2021 in DeFi, when a lot of protocols had to go in emergency mode, and like had to go do drastic things to protect the protocol from breaking. And in some cases the protocol is even broke. And that's why synthetics is so successful at not breaking, because their collateralization requirements are like 750%. So
Wow.
it's super inefficient, but it's not going to break, or it's the least likely thing to break on the market. So if you were trying to hedge against, the black swan event, you would want to be in something like that, as opposed to, but then it's so capital inefficient that it's almost not, you almost can't even rationalize using that. So it's just that Ergon just seems like a perfect fit for DeFi, because it's almost as if you're using a stable coin as collateral for everything, which a lot of stuff does. Like MakerDAO was originally just taking in ETH, and then they added US,
USDC.
right? But they added a stable coin for the collateral, which is really awkward.
Yeah.
It's a really weird way to go about fixing the problem. But Ergon is basically doing that without the risk of a depeg, or without the risk of censorship, or without the risk of Oracle failure. It's really the best, like, trust minimized, risk minimized way to build DeFi building blocks, because you have a stable base money to build these financial applications with, instead of either a really capital efficient thing or a very risky and fragile stable coin. Because that's the two options you have. You either have Bitcoin Ethereum or ETH, which is using that as collateral, and creating like an ETH-based stablecoin is more decentralized in a sense and more secure, but it's capital inefficient. And using something like Tether is more capital efficient, but it's, like we alluded to earlier, it's probably under collateralized. It's probably, they probably don't have the money that they say they do.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I think it even was proven that they don't
yeah,
like.
the point is you currently have two options and then a spectrum between the two. But there's a giant hole in the middle where the sweet spot should be between efficiency and security, and that's where Ergon fits into it. It's just from my perspective, it's because I spent most of my time in DeFi. It solves. I only listed one or two problems that it solves, but it basically just happens to solve like every single problem that I've ever faced in DeFi.
Nice.
I'll probably like do a whole video on that at some point, but I just wanted to say that. And we're coming up on like 2 hours of talking. So
Yeah, I think it will be time to leave. But that was a great point you made about DeFi. I love. I mean, you talk about it, and you written an article for the blog. Oh man, I just outed you. It was you. uh,
it's okay.
but but you can edit that out later.
No, yeah, you're right. I can.
Uh,
But yeah, that whoever wrote that DeFi article really captured.
yeah, really captured it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this was really awesome. We got a lot of Tobias content, and we got a good amount of Ergon content and questions answered from you. Question from the chat, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I just now I have more topics at the end of this than I had at the beginning. So we'll have to do this again like next weekend, and hopefully more people can join. And if we turn it into a consistent thing, it could be something bigger than we're even aiming for. Because we're really just aiming to put some content out on YouTube so that people can like see the community's activity and the dialogue that happens between us. But it can definitely form into something like having guests on the show, or I'm calling it a show, but like having guests in our community town hall meetings from different projects and stuff. And it would be just a really cool interview it would be a really cool opportunity to interview different people and sort of initiate them into the community at the same time, and just keep interviewing you as the creator of Ergon and core community members. And hopefully I can get, good at being a host. And I'm hoping it could become like a a podcast so that by the time Ergon gets some traction again, we'll already have like a show that people can tune into, or I don't know what to call it, but just community calls that are recorded and posted on YouTube.
Yeah, nice, very nice. But well, that would be great. But it would be really awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, to have like I mean, not everyone likes reading and typing. Some people prefer
Yeah.
listening
Yeah.
and watching, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot
And
of
that's actually majority of people these days, right? Not to say anything bad, it's not bad. It's the natural way people communicate, right?
Yeah.
It's the natural way by talking
Yeah.
and listening.
Yeah, and do you know how many like projects I follow that they say they're alive and well, but they like gave up on doing weekly videos like 2 years ago? So so people go to their YouTube and they think the project's dead. I, I'm gonna try my hardest to stick to doing these weekly, but they're so easy because it's not like hardcore debating or interrogation. We're just shooting the shit and having fun.
Yeah, we can like I don't know, have events like we all come with a cup of tea and or a cup of coffee this time, right? Oh yeah, there is a coffee there.
Maybe we could do like giveaways for people who actually show up and like go on camera. So it's like an anti-bot giveaway. You can
Yeah.
actually do some giveaways without giving it all to airdrop farmers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I said about putting it on torrent, I wanted to like for like my idea is to mint an SLP token for each video and give one of them to every participant for the donations, and it can be done this way, that like if you're on the show you're getting a token, right? Like everyone is getting one unit, and it's like a nice and fair appreciation of people coming proportionally, right?
Yeah,
To how much they're coming.
yeah.
uh
And like I just wanted to say this too, because it's just on my mind, but getting people to talk on call is really valuable because it's going the extra mile as a community.
yeah
It really helps growth. Like when you do something that's so community oriented as like a roundtable discussion over video, it just sort of it adds momentum to the movement because it's like it's a meeting, it's an exchange of ideas, and like new people can come on and feel like they're contributing to something, even if they don't know how to code or they don't know how to market or anything. They can just come on to calls and get involved and stuff. So
yeah, we are essentially bonding, right?
yeah. And that's the best type of marketing. It's just converting one person at a time, you know. But okay, it was really nice talking.
Yeah, same for me. My wife is furious. It's so late. I do have to go to
Yeah.
All right.
She rung me in the middle. She was like, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
Where am I?
She asked me where I am.
Yeah. Uh, and I'm in my basement. Personally,
It sounds like you're in a basement.
it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is where I work usually. When I have a webcam, I'll show you next time maybe.
Hopefully, yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
my cave.
All right. Like I said, I'll stitch the videos together, and I'll basically, in the video description, it'll be like minute markers for basically every topic that we covered. So people can just skip around based on what topics they're interested in. So just in case they didn't want to hear like Tobias, I know I prompted it, but just in case they don't want to hear Tobias talk about himself for 20 minutes, they can skip ahead to the Ergon related stuff.
Yeah, I think you could also put like a large QR code of I don't know, an address for tips. That's also, you know, like
Yeah,
on top of that.
I could put it at like yeah, I don't know where. I could put it in overlay it onto the video, like in the top.
Yeah, yeah. Like people just scan them with their calorie and can send you something. Yeah.
That would actually be interesting because then if I made shorter clips out of this video, the QR code would still be in the clip.
Yeah, with that overlay.
So if it
Right.
got shared around, it could get more tips.
Yeah, and I was thinking to add this function to calorie so that the QR code could be the token ID, so that when you scan it with your calorie, then you actually airdrop everyone who has this token.
Oh, Alex did ask another question that I want to cover.
Oh yeah, so I'm sorry, yeah.
Just because it's so important. But he asked what the next milestones are for Ergon, and I guess we can both give a brief explanation since there's no official narrative for Ergon because we're decentralized. But what do you see the next steps being?
I'm seeing I'm waiting for your foundation to start.
Yeah.
And see some next like inflow of people and hope to get some builders amongst like people who are just well maybe there will be again some misinformed people unfortunately, but well, we can't do anything about it if people don't read anything. uh, but yeah, I'm hoping to see some new faces through this. Mm, well, for my personal work, I want to like a milestone. I want to. Um, well, I'm doing market making because, as I said, it's a great business on Ergon. Um, I want to hopefully be adding new places where I do that market making, and the next thing I'm thinking of is Ergonex that Jay is working on, because Jay made this decentralized exchange on top of Ergon, which is one-sided, where you can only sell tokens, but you cannot post orders to buy them. And historically, systems of that kind seemed very illiquid. But my market maker will be keeping the price. I mean, will be eating up the orders that are below like calculated level. So you can be like selling like there will be a buy side always there, and will hopefully make that exchange liquid. Uh, because well, I will be essentially providing liquidity there. So that's my hope for my next step. I did some experimentation with that, like plugging into this interface that was not that was made for human interaction, but like to somehow parse what the program is writing out. Maybe it would be faster to just implement an interface for Ergon. I'll see. I'll see what to do.
Why is it only one-sided?
Because the tokens aren't miner verified. They're just colored coins. So the a smart contract that is on Ergon can't really verify a real token is coming in. Like someone, like if you wanted to buy a token, you'd have to verify this is a real one, and this is just a colored coin with an op return, with a string attached to the transaction. So you can't really a contract cannot interpret it as an actual token. It's just a transaction for it. So you can actually sell it, because the person who is buying it can verify on its own that the thing that they are buying is real, right? And the contract can verify that it received the right amount of ergons, that much, right? So so it is doable only in one side. It's sort of a like why do you not have two-sided gas station? Like imagine a gas station that will be two-sided, and you can come there and actually pump some oil or some gas to a distributor, and it will just pay you out money. And a gas station like that would have to verify that the gas you're pumping in is not fake, and that's a real problem, right?
Okay. Was that a random analogy?
No, I was actually thinking of ways how to do market making on different things, on many different things. Like I thought through, like, can you make a vending machine that not only sells but also buys? Right. Imagine like if you had a vending machine that is selling pencils in your like in a corporate environment. Some dude figures out that he can buy pencils across the street cheaper and sell it to the machine, and then later other people are buying them from that machine, and it essentially works as an automated market maker, like a Uniswap. But you don't basically you have a vending machine that isn't that you don't have to never ever refill. Like you just put it there, and it sells pencils, and someone refills it, right? And you earn the spread. So the problem you hit in there is the same like with this token. It can only be one-sided vending machine because you cannot verify the quality of the pencils.
Okay. But people are so used to the two-sided market, automated market makers in crypto. They're used to being able to buy or sell.
Yeah.
So do you think we'll ever get something like that on Ergon?
Yeah, I think we will when we port advancements from other coins, like for instance cash tokens or Tobias's Mitra. Then we will get actually miner validated tokens, not just colored coins. and then we will be able to do it directly on top of Ergon.
All right, good to know. My answer to the question is I agree with Carol. It's going to be dependent on the progress of the foundation or the LLC that I'm trying to start. And like 2 weeks ago, I was still thinking it was going to be a nonprofit. But then after thinking it over for a long time, talking to the community, talking to business advisors, it's like it seems like everyone was saying that a for-profit company would be much easier in a lot of regards. And it can just be, the governance of it can just be structured so that it has this ethos of not being profit oriented, but more about like serving the good of humanity. And I mean, it's kind of a contradiction to say a corporation is going to serve for the good of humanity, because they usually don't. But I guess I'm just going to try my absolute best before it gets co-opted by some billionaire. But hopefully I can, do something at that point. But okay, so it depends on the progress of the LLC, which is the first foundation that wants to build stuff on Ergon and profit off of it and have shareholders involved. So there's going to be I'm already working on it, but there's going to be a need for a white paper for that for this project that I'm undergoing. And I'm still working out even the most basic details, like making it a security versus making it a security token. I prefer it being a token, but then that is then you run into a bunch of compliance issues. So I have the name, but I am going to be I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm going to be talking to an ICO legal firm. It's probably going to be big money, but whatever. Because I mean, I don't care how much it costs, because I just want to make this happen. And I'll try to find out more details from them. So I guess like you should stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be working on the sort of ICO white paper. And once I have the business structure done, which I'd say the whole business plan and business structure and all of that is like 60 to 70% done at this point. It was only like 20% done a few weeks ago, so we're making good progress on it. And I'm gonna have to discuss or inquire a lot of well, actually no, I'm not gonna have to do what I previously thought I would have to do, which is talk to VCs, because the community thinks VCs are evil. So we're probably going to go with an IEO, initial exchange offering. So I'm going to have to talk to exchanges and see who would be willing to basically pitch it to them and see who would be willing to run the IEO. And once we do that, we can get a figure of how much money we raise, and then we can build some products that have revenue streams. And then once we have money raised, revenue streams implemented, we'll money to do some really heavy marketing, and the marketing is going to be for Ergon itself and the products that it can use that you can use with it. And I also thought this as a side note, like I don't want to be the central corporation involved in Ergon stuff. So even when we have our own website with our own products and stuff, I want to somehow promote other products that are competing with us so that the market distribution can be more fair. So I do have some ideas that might help it, might keep it decentralized, hopefully. But yeah, it's just all the steps that you have to take to make make an LLC and run an ICO, and then we'll have, once we know how much money we have to work with, we'll know what we can and cannot do. But marketing and building products is just the simplest answer I can give as to what next steps are, and that all depends on when this company gets launched, which I mean, if I can't get it launched by the end of 2024, there's something wrong with me. But I'm hoping to get it launched maybe within, let's say, 4 to 6 months, at the longest. Because we are close to talking about serious stuff now that we have agreed to go in the for-profit route. I have that opens us up to more resources that this business advisor can give me. And the business advisor is just some guy who does, he's an ex-CEO, and he basically advises startup projects for free as a form of charity.
Nice.
So he's a great person. He advises, like dozens of projects, and yeah, as long as we have that professional experience behind it, I think we have the intellect and the narrative, and the market fit for the product. Like Ergon is a great product. We just have to get awareness, and we have to do it without getting absolutely crushed by people who don't want us to succeed, because we are challenging the status quo in crypto, which a lot of projects challenge the status quo in various dimensions, but we're challenging like the core concept that powers, or the core concept that every single project in crypto is built off of, which is a fixed supply. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a genuine challenge when people start to notice us, because I think I don't think I'm being paranoid when I say there are going to be a lot of people who want us to fail, because if Ergon succeeds, it means that it sort of invalidates the Bitcoin's current philosophy.
Yeah, and also at some point it will become the real danger, like
Right.
even to Bitcoin security, not to mention the narrative. Even at moderate growth rates, if Ergon grows even moderately, it will necessarily like suck out the hash rate, because otherwise without massive hash rate it just won't grow. I mean the price will be going up, the miner profitability will be going up, and and it just must happen. There's no way around it. It's I mean, if Ergon grows, then it brings huge hash rates. We've seen it last time when we flipped, almost flipped BSV, flipped eCash by a factor of 2. So, I mean, those are top 100 coins, and Ergon is top 2,000.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like this doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So, I mean, it's just a certain inevitability. I'm sorry, inevitability that if it grows, it topples over. I mean, it will roll over the entire ecosystem. It will be an earthquake, and I think it will be. I mean, people aren't aware of it, but we are. But to most people, it will be a black swan event, right? And I can see people being really shocked by what is happening when that happens. I imagine that there will be people drastically opposing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How do I
Yeah,
say?
we are sort of Ubermensch, destroying the old values and creating our own from nothing, right? Like drawing from Nietzsche.
Yeah. Yeah. Little God is dead moment.
Yeah, yeah, I got this thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to disparage any other cryptos because that's not our goal here, but it'll definitely worry the price up only people.
Yeah,
They're gonna
yeah.
people who only care about price are gonna lose their minds because when hash rate goes down and security goes down, it's gonna
And the narratives go down.
it's all gonna impact price negatively for other cryptos. But yeah, that's why I'm trying not to market it as a killer because it's a delicate situation because you want everyone to know, but you kind of don't want the haters to know right away.
Yeah, yeah. Like we're talking about it at the end. So now only people who are the most like persistent in watching this will know. So hopefully, no haters will will learn this fact prematurely. That we have a loaded gun here. Right.
Yeah, yeah. It's so surreal to me to have come to this point in crypto. I never would have expected something like this. Like I always expected like a stable proof of work coin, but I never really thought about these implications like deeply until I got into Ergon. And it's so life changing and like ego shattering and all those things that I literally I hate spending my time on anything other than Ergon these days. Like I hate the fact that I'm looking for a like a temporary job until the foundation launches because I really don't want to do that, but I just have to make some money. So yeah, hopefully one day I can work Aragon full time and that will be a point of fulfillment for me. Um, I always knew you could become a CEO type. Thanks.
Yeah.
A link, but you thought it would be in a link type project. Yeah, I thought it would be in something like Ampleforth, but all roads lead to Ergon. You know, it's like it's almost like it was inevitable to end up here. Something within, yeah, and Ergon's outside of the establishment because there's no team, no ICO, just a nerd coding by himself.
Now we have a couple of nerds.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jay was great with his. With I mean, he is great with the stuff he's building, and
yeah,
and yeah, and Tobias is. I mean, yeah, he enabled Jay's building. So wow, this is so cool. All of this
I
is
can't
so
wait
cool.
until Tobias becomes full-time Ergon as opposed to anything else.
Yeah, I think he will. But at the time when we, um, get more liquidity, when
Yeah.
his business becomes like more viable, and like when the price swings stabilize a bit. Uh, so I think that I mean he has the potential to become a full-time ergonite. I mean he came up with the word ergonite.
Yeah, he came out with Ergon.
Yeah, and Ergon, of course, yes, he came up with Ergon
Yeah.
with the name.
Yeah, but I guess that's the other point I would make too about next steps is like, it would be great to have Jay on a call because he's doing a lot of the development and for apps. So he could definitely go like really deep into what he thinks the next steps will be. Because I'm sure he thinks a lot about it. So hopefully next time he can come on. But yeah, every established project has started with some nerds and a William. Good point.
Yeah, it reminds me of Roger Ver, right? Who started like the first businesses
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
on Bitcoin. Like
Yeah.
you, like this is the kind. This is
Yeah.
the vibe.
I
This
hope
is the
I'm
vibe we
not
have here.
I hope I don't become as emotional as Roger. You know, he's cried on live camera like multiple times. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I mean,
it's good he's passionate. I don't blame him, but I'm just saying I hope I have the more stability than him and his sob vests.
yeah. I mean, he really wanted Bitcoin to be what it is not, right? He wanted Bitcoin to be Ergon.
Yeah.
So maybe we will have more like uplifting story, an uplifting story than a sad story.
Yeah, yeah. The way he always talked about Bitcoin was like he just hated how like being able to print infinite money and causing like warfare across the globe is just cancer. And I mean, like Bitcoin's not going to solve that, but Ergon would have a better chance since it actually is money. At alleviating some of the toxic incentives from money printing. Reach out to him and show Ergon. Yeah.
But I think Roger Ver might know about Ergon, at least like heard the name. I think he follows me on Twitter. I'm not sure about it, but he's certainly in several chats. I'm in on Telegram, and I was quite known in Bitcoin Cash community, so he might know. I don't know if he does, but it's not.
Yeah, but I've seen the Bitcoin Cash community attack you on Twitter. They're like, this idea is stupid.
Yeah. I don't think he will flip these days. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, I
Honestly.
think I think he's more likely to than a lot of the other Bitcoin Cash, like the community members who come up with those dumb arguments. Like, sorry, I don't mean to say dumb, but those like these I don't know what to call them, but there's just these poor arguments like, how will Ergon ever gain adoption? And I'm like, I'm just like, what a strange question, because I could say the same thing about Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah. I just checked that. He actually does follow me on Twitter.
Nice. Yeah, I think so. What I was gonna say is I think like him, he's a actual like he was a thought leader at one point, but I think people like that, the trailblazers, will catch on to Ergon before the crowd does. I think most of these people will eventually accept the inevitable. But I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to compliment us or myself intentionally, but you do have to be a free thinker to accept Ergon as fulfilling Satoshi's original vision, because you have to go against you have to be able you have to have the courage to go against everyone else, to go against the crowd, to swim against the current, that sort of thing. You have to be willing to be called names, to be ridiculed, because that's how being an early adopter works. We're basically in the 2010 era of Bitcoin in respect to Ergon. So, yeah, get them in the line of fire. Yeah, exactly. Just get some of these thought leaders involved in the conversation, the people who aren't afraid to take on like adversarial version, people who aren't afraid of going against other people, getting those people involved. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm I have like this 2-part plan of, I mean, it's basic networking, but I have this 2-part plan of just getting to know a lot of the OG Bitcoiners, OG Bcashers, OG BSV people, and befriending them. And then once I sort of earn their respect a little bit more, then I push Ergon onto them instead of just approaching them as a shill outright. I'm working on my my relationships with people, because that was never really my job in the space. My job was to just be like a contrarian who gave ideas to projects, but now is like an actual evangelist for a project like Ergon. I have to work on relationships with people more than anything, because that's gonna do a lot more than paid marketing will. Like these people who don't take payments and are thought leaders, those are the people that you need. So, yeah, it's gonna be a long.
Guys, my wife is going to kill me. I love talking to you about, but I really need to go.
All right, I'm gonna end it here.
It's 1 a.m.
Yeah, but this was fun. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah, totally.
Pick a time that works better for you.
Yeah. All right, all right. And I hope I won't mess up the time zones this time.
Yeah, don't mess up your arithmetic.
Yeah. Oh man, this was so embarrassing. Anyway, so see you again.